What is going on, guys? Delta here. Welcome back to another Division video. Today we're going to be cracking open the Division history books and talking about one of the most controversial changes that Massive made to the Division in the Division's history. I would like to just preface, the point of this video isn't to say which one is better, it's mostly just to talk about an interesting occurrence that happened within the Division community. Before we get into it, if you're new here, thank you guys for being here. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. We're about to hit 300 subscribers and that is insane. So make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, as it really helps me out. With that said, let's get right into the video. So it's no secret that there has been a lot of change between the Division 1 and the Division 2 made by Massive, and one of the most shocking changes to the community was the transition to an armor system within the Division 2. Way back in the Division 1, armor had changed a few times within the Division 1 since it was such a difficult thing to balance. Massive really had a hard time tuning it. So how it worked in the Division 1 was armor provided a flat mitigation of damage. So if you were shot by a bullet that does 1000 damage to you and you had 50% mitigation, the bullet would only hit you for 500 damage. This is how it worked back in the early patches of the Division 2, such as patch 1.2. So while you knew that that was mitigating your damage, that was more of a back-end thing. You couldn't really see it. There was no visual cues because the player could only really see their health pool. In patch 1.2, Massive introduced a toughness system where the toughness stat was a better measure of the player's survivability. It was comprised of armor and health. Contrary to the Division 2, armor was always active. There was literally no separation between health pool and armor. Your armor was always mitigating the damage all the time. For the fast-paced nature of the Division 1, and especially in the Division 1's PvP, this was really good. Players could spec in as much armor or as little as they can, but they knew that having a decent amount of mitigation was more advantageous than other ways of running the build. Armor mitigation was capped at 75%, and that meant you could mitigate 75% of all the damage done to you at all times with no downsides. In later patches such as patch 1.5, armor damage talents such as destructive and armor shred mechanics were added to balance this out. Massive was clearly trying to find a balance to this mechanic, and many community members were trying to come up with solutions, some of which we'll see later in the video. So since there was no separation between armor and health, medkits allowed for burst healing, damage mitigation, and they were instant use, so you could use them mid-fight in order to gain an advantage over your opponent. Every player was allowed to have these medkits, and there was no drawbacks because you didn't have to spec into anything. They were just always there. For these reasons, they were viewed as outplay mechanics in the Division 1, and many people really enjoyed the use of medkits, especially that they were burst healing and they were instant use. Granted, the use of these medkits would increase the TTK since they could always be used within the fights, so that's another interesting thing to consider. Fast forward to Division 2, armor is a visual bar now, which actually was based on Marco Styles' recommendation that armor is a visual bar and it is separate from the health pool. In addition to that, it's also the main health pool, meaning the more armor you stack, the tankier you will be. So now that armor is a main attribute like weapon damage and skill tiers within Division 2, it now includes a trade-off. So more armor means less weapon damage, or it means less skill tiers, skill power, whatever. The health pool is so small that it only takes a few bullets to kill someone if they're in their health. The armor system is also linear, so each blue attribute adds a flat amount of armor, whether it's the maximum amount or slightly under, it adds a certain amount, and it's always there. But if you take damage, your armor will go away. So here is where we get into the real controversy right here. Many people were used to the burst instant healing of the medkits back in Division 1. Back in Division 1, we had support stations that you could blow up and they can give you health, they can give you health on kill. You straight up had instant heals, self-heals. Other teammates could self-heal you. There was so much healing. In the Division 2, however, there is no such thing as instant healing, especially when the game first came out. Armor kits take at least 2 seconds to use, and you would most likely have to disengage from a fight, go behind cover, then armor kit, then come back to the fight. Not to mention, your player is completely immobile while you're doing the armor kit. It's not like the instant heal medkits where you could be running around, you stop sprinting, but you take the medkit and you get your health back, but you could still move in the Division 1. If you look in the comments section of Marco Style, of Wids, to name a few, the outcry over this was astonishing. People were really upset that there was no instant medkits and there was no burst healing. I've brought up Marco Style a few times. He is the biggest creator that the Division ever had. He unfortunately stopped playing the Division 2 because of reasons like this, like it affected PvP and he no longer found it enjoyable, which is, of course, it's his own decision. He could do whatever he wants. He's a grown man. But my point is the public divisiveness because of this issue was absolutely astonishing. Now, of course, there were other issues that the game had that drove people away, such as the setting and whatnot, but I don't think that those were as much of an issue as it was to the sentiment that PvP players got from the direction that the game was going, especially in terms of like the healing and stuff like that. Many people interpreted these movements as massive catering towards the PvE audience, which is another huge issue. Not an issue per se, but a contentious debate within the community, especially. Many PvP players felt that the experience was gutted from the Division 1 to the Division 2, especially with the mechanics changing and the existence of 3 dark zones instead of just 1 large one. Many PvP players thought as a result of these changes that Massive was driving them away. However, there is always 2 sides of the story. Many people really do enjoy the new armor system. I myself have found an appreciation for the Division 2's PvP. I think it really does have its moments, especially with how graphically great it looks. But yeah, quick little video today. This is about all I have. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Tell me your thoughts on the armor system and the changes that they made. Do you guys prefer the system of the Division 1, or do you guys not really care? Do you guys like the Division 2? I'm curious to see what you guys think. If you have any suggestions for me, please don't hesitate to let your concerns be known down in the comment section below. If you made it to the end of the video, please like and subscribe, as it really helps me out. Thank you guys so much for watching. Delta out. Peace.